that Matplotlib is a low-level graph library in Python that we basically use for visualization. And Matplotlib is open source and it can be used, like you can use it free. And then, like I also say that it is mostly written in Python, but part of the segment are written in C, Objective-C, and then JavaScript platform for compatibility. So we are basically going to be using that. And then in installation, like I told you, if you want to make installation, so you can make installation through this place that I showed you yesterday. So you go to settings, and then you can go to Python interpreter from where you created your program. Like we have created our project yesterday, and where you created, you can go here, you click on the plus sign here, and you can search for Matplotlib, and then you install that, the package there. So this is the first way you can get that done. Then the second way you can get that done is using the terminal here. So from the terminal here, you can say pip install Matplotlib. So you can say Matplotlib, and when you press enter, that's going to be installed for you. But in my own case, you can actually see here that I have installed that, and that's why it says already certified. It has satisfied. So you can see in the installation, you can see the rest of other packages like Pillow, also like NumPy, that has been installed already. So and then what I did yesterday as well was I went to the program here by the side here. I right click on this, and then I go to new, and I click on Python file, and that's why I created this matplotlib.py. So you don't need to put .py. So the moment you put matplotlib like this and you press enter, and that's how I come about creating this. So what I mean is I can go ahead and delete this. So let me go down, go to delete, and delete this. So that has been deleted. So what I did was I right click there, go to new Python, and I type matplotlib. Then once I did this, I press enter, and that's open up here. Now in Matplotlib, it is a module, and I've showed you how to get that installed, and that is how to install it, and that's how to create your first plot. So for you to use Matplotlib, you go ahead and say import, since you have installed it, and you can say import Matplotlib here. You can see it here. You say Python plot like this. So this is matplotlib.python plot. Now remember what I said. The reason why I say as PLT is that I want to use this whole thing as PLT. That is PLT to refer to the whole Matplotlib, because if for me repeating this thing every time is long. So I can also say PLT instead of me saying PLT. I can also say array like this. So that means anytime I want to use Matplotlib, I will replace it with array. I can also say matplotlib.pls like this. So that means anytime I want to use Matplotlib, I will use this, because I don't want to go ahead and use this long way like this. So that's why we use this. So for me, I'm just going to leave it on the default, which is PLT. That's what the default things they use. Now if you want to draw a line in the name of where you plot from a position to another position, from one position to another, remember we use X and Y. Now because we need to use math, we are going to use a numerical Python. So the numerical Python, like I said, is called NumPy. So because of that, I'm also going to import NumPy as NP, because NP, remember, that's what they use, but you can also use your own to what you want to use. So what it means is that the same thing we're using in Matplotlib, the first thing I did here is I am importing modules here. I've imported modules. Now the next thing I want to do now is that I want to define 2 points and another point. So the first point I want to define is, let's say, the X point or Y point, because I want to define the point in X axis. Let's say a coordinate, 2 coordinates point, or I want to draw a road from one point to another. I want to draw a straight line from one point to another. So let me assume that I'm defining the x coordinate, for example, or I'm defining the y coordinate, or I'm defining longitude and latitude, but let's just say x point. So now for the x direction, so let me make it x underscore direction. So I am making x direction as the first variable I'm declaring. Now what I need to do now, I need to bring in numpy.array like this. So numpy.array, then I am now going to define the point. The list of those points is the first point I want to start is from 2, and another I want it to reach, let's say 6. This is in the x direction. So if I want to do in the y direction, because you can't plot this, so I want to put in y direction, so I'm going to declare the y direction here, and I'm also going to make it the point here, let's say it is from 3 to 9. Now what I'm trying to do is generally, what I'm trying to do is that if you remember the way you draw your this thing here, so you see now that in the graphing we have y and x axis like this. So this is our x axis, this is our y axis here, and you remember here that we used to say here is the origin, which is 0 here, and then we have 1, we have 2 here. So we have 1, we have 2, we have 3, we have 4 in that order, and we have 1, we have 2, we have 3 in that order. We have -1, we have -2, we have -3, we have -1 for y axis, we have -2 for y axis, we have -3 for y, in that order continuously. So what I'm trying to do is that I want to say that in the x direction we have +2. So in the x direction here, this is +2. So this is the point of +2 here, intersecting with y. Where is this is +2 in y? Where is it intersecting with y? It is intersecting with y in 3. So let me assume that this is 3 here, so it is intersecting with y here. So this is 3 here. Where is it intersecting? It is intersecting this one also. It intersects. So this is the point, first point. Then let's go to the second one, and then I say 9,6. Where is 6? Let me assume that 6 is somewhere in the x direction, so it is intersecting here. So this is where it is in left. So 9 is somewhere around here, so it is also intersecting here. So where is both of them intersecting? So it is intersecting somewhere here. Now this is the point x and y is intersecting. So if I'm to draw a straight line across them, so the straight line is going to be in this pattern. So this is exactly what I want to do. So because I have defined the x and y direction here, so I've defined the x and y direction in this order, so both lines can join. So this is exactly what I want to do. So for me to get that done, I have to define the x and y direction. Now how do I plot them? This is the definition, defining in the line. For me to plot them, and I will say PLT. I have done with NumPy, so I'm going to say PLT, and I'm going to say plot. Then what do I want to plot? I want to plot the x and y point. So for what is the x? So I'm going to say x underscore direction. This one I define here, and I'm going to say comma here. Also remember the same thing we were doing, so I'm going to say y underscore comma y direction. This is what I want to plot. The direction, both direction is what I want to plot. Now how do I show it? Anytime you say plt.show, means that this particular thing that you plotted, you want to display it. So this PLT takes care of show, this PLT.plot makes the plotting for you. And once you do that same thing here, then you are going to get this run, and then you can have your plotting here. So this is the intersection of 2 intersect with 3, and then this is the intersection of 6 intersecting with 9 in the y direction. So you can see by default I did not do anything, I just get here. So if you see here, you see now that as you're hovering over this, so you can see, look down here, you can see the intersection. So if you look at the line, you can see the intersection of those things I've plotted. Any place I place my cursor, that is where the intersection, right? Then here is where if you drag this one a bit off, like if you take this now and drag it, you can drag it Then when you click here, it will return home, resetting it to original. Here you can also zoom to the extent. Here you can also configure the subplot, assuming you want to do the subplot. So you can click on the slider like this. You can change this in this particular order, whichever way you want it, or you put it once white spaces, then you reset them by clicking on this. Then here you want to save it, so you can click on that, and then I can go to, let me go to desktop and save it as figure, either as PDF or as any of this thing here. So I'm just going to put it as PNG, and if I save it here, so that means if I go to my desktop, I should be able to have what I save somewhere in the desktop. Yeah, so let me check again. So reset, then this, let me click on save, and then okay, it is saved in desktop, so let me delete it and then save it in my normal desktop here. So this is the desktop here, figure 1. So if I go to desktop, I should be able to have what I plotted saved on the desktop. So you can see it here. So without name, I just define the X and Y in that direction. So do you have any question on this? You can unmute and ask, or I can proceed. Yeah, go ahead.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, how are you doing?
I'm good. Would you please repeat the way you go to that graph, because I didn't see it well.
Which one?
Yes, the graph you are showing us. How do you get it and how to save it? I don't get it well.
Okay, so I was saying that, but you understand this code until this ICPLT dot show. You understand this onto here,
Yes.
right? Okay, so once you are done here, if you look here, you see now that you have two things here on here to run the code. Yeah, there are two things that is involved. If you have another one here, if I create another file here, you might be seeing that run, you can see different thing, but look at it from here. I have here which I run. So when I click on run this modpy here, when I run it, it's going to pop up like this. So when I click here, I maximize it. So this is the output of what I did that is showing on this. So here is home. I can drag it around by clicking on this. So that means I can drag what I plot here. If I want to restore, I restore it by here. If I want to save, this is save here. I think you understand me now. Right?
Yes.
All right, so this is the output of what I did, so I can use that way. So if I want to close it, I can just go ahead and close it, and when I close it, see this is still running. Then this is, yeah, so anytime you want to run, you run it here, and your code is here. So once you get this done, this is already here for you. So this is just a way to get it run. So when you do that, you have that plus, and that is simply way of getting a 2-point plotted for you. Now, as you can see, I just use import numpy. I imported Matplotlib, and then I define 2 points, and then I define the point I want to plot, and then I plot show, and that automatically shows that for me. For you, you can also change this. Like if I change this to 0 and I also change this to 5, then and I run it, I should be able to have the output of what I put in that particular order. Go ahead.
Morning.
Yeah.
I want to know, if you don't mind, how the way you installed the Matplotlib.
Okay. The way of installation is just the same way we did yesterday. Like I said, the first method is you can go here under settings here. You go to setting. When you open the setting, remember I've already created a project. You go to Python interpreter. You go to plus sign here. Now when you get to here, it will load the available package for us, and when you load the available package, I can type Matplotlib like this. Now you can see it here. You can see the first one here. I will click on it and then I will click on install. That get installed for me. That's the first way. Then the second way is what I also showed yesterday. Python packages here. Then I can type here Matplotlib. Then you can see the Matplotlib here. I will click on it. It will show me install. You can see I have installed it. That's why it is showing me uninstalled. But let's say the one I did not install, like this one now, if it is this one, you can see install here. And I will click on it and that's work. That's the second way I showed you. And the third way I showed is by using the terminal here. I will click on the terminal here. It will come here. And I will say PIP. You can see here, install Matplotlib. Then I'll press enter and that's going to run. You can see it's already satisfied, and that's how this comes in here. So that's the way to get it installed. So I just showed you 3 ways of getting it installed: from settings, from packages, and from terminal. Yes, so that's how to get it installed.
Okay, simply, first you have to create the project.
Yes, you have to create a project like I did yesterday, new project here, and then you just need to define the project. For me, I just went ahead and say on the project I name it at Matplotlib, as you can see here, Matplotlib. I just type it Matplotlib, and then once I finish that, I click on this. This is default here. I didn't want to do anything, so I click on create, and that's how it comes about here. It's the continuation of where I stopped yesterday. Okay, so that is it for here, and you can see here that's how we come about with the output. Now we are going to be making modification as well. Now if you see here, I just say Matplotlib and I put it here and it shows me a line. Now I want to introduce the third parameter into this particular one here, and then if I put this 0 here and then I go ahead and run this, then you see now that we are going to have the point instead of line. So I just introduce that to it and we have the point instead of line. So now we're having point instead of line. So this is a way to work on it. So now because of this thing I'm doing now, I am changing. That is why I told you yesterday to install Jupyter Lab. So the Jupyter Lab is what I'm going to use now. Now I have installed the Jupyter Lab by doing pip install Jupyter Lab. So I put Jupyter Lab like this yesterday. So and I press enter, and that tells me here that you can see pip install Jupyter Lab. So you can see that I have installed that, and that is why it shows already installed, the requirement already met. So you can see here I've run, I installed it yesterday. Now for me to launch the Jupyter Lab, I am going to type Jupyter like this, Jupyter Lab in this order, and then I'm going to press enter, and that is going to do this, as you can see. So this is what is going to happen. It's going to wait a bit, and you can see now it is linking and it is connecting, and that's open for me in my browser, and it load up like this. Now I am now on my local host 888/lab, and you can see here, this one you see here is the one I created here. Now for me, because of what I'm trying to explain, because I want to keep every documentation in that order, I am going to go to file here, and then I'm going to go to new, and I'm going to say new notebook. So I'm going to use new notebook. Now under the new notebook here, select canal, I'm going to say select, and you can see here this have selected for me. Then I can also right click here and go to the property here. You can see here we have here, and then I can rename. So I want to put it as Jupyter I want to put it as Matplotlib. Now you can see this same Matplotlib, but now remember that it's now showing IPYNB. That is a Python Jupyter Notebook. Now remember, if you look at Google Collaboratory, what we're using in Google Collaboratory, we were having this type of thing. So I'm just going to rename that. I'm not going to remove this, and I'm going to click here. Now as you can see here, I have a white background. So I can also change the settings, the view. You can see appearance here, the interface, small interface presentation. You can put it up here, then run, settings, theme, and if I need a dark, I'm going to put the dark, and it returns me to the dark if I don't want white. So I don't want white, so I have changed the settings from theme to dark background. Now we have this here. Now to avoid, because I want to document with you everything I'm doing, so I'm just going to copy this. I will return back to my browser, and I'm going to put it here. So this is the first thing I did, so I'm going to remove this one because this is not the first one I did. So now when I have it here, I am going to click on run on this one. Then when I click run, then what happens is I will have this first one documented here. The output comes in that order. Then the second thing I'm saying now is that can put it as a point. Then when I finish this one, I can put it as a point. I can run it. Then what happens? You can see the one when I change, I put at a point. So on that, I'm just going to close this up so that I can have a bigger screen. Yeah, go ahead. Okay, I assume that's not a question. So here is what I did. I just plotted the line, but here I am plotting it as a point. So that is why I introduced this into it, as you can see here. So I introduce this into it, and that shows me plotting the point for me, and that is the way I can get to plot the point. Is that a question? If there is a question, you can go ahead and ask.
No questions, sir.
All right. Okay, so now you can see now that I introduced this, and this gives us a point. Now, if I want to plot multiple points, remember, like I said, we are going just like this. It's just like telling you the examples. So if I want to plot multiple points or multiple lines, so let me say that I have many lines that I want to work on. So I'm also going to copy this. Remember, I have imported Matplotlib as MP, and I probably don't need to be repeating the same thing. So because of that, I can do this. Now we come to clean documentation of code, where I can just go to the top one and define what I want to import, and then the rest of them I will start with the code. So that's why I want to start here. Now I don't want to bring import Matplotlib because I've already done that, and I will run it up here. There is no need of repeating import Matplotlib anymore. It's not necessary. So let me zoom this a bit. Now I want to plot multiple points, so I'm going to make comma. I put 3 comma 6 comma. I want to put 10 comma 23. Then I also need to go and do the same thing here, comma. I put 1 comma 0 comma another line and comma, let's say 30. Now if I run this particular one, now to run, you can see here, you can press shift enter to run that line. That's the first way you get to run, or you can run it from here. So for me, I press shift and enter on that line, and that's how I get this output here. So what do you have here? This is the way I plotted multiple points. Then if I want to plot this line as a line, so I'm going to copy this code, and then I'm going to paste it here, but I'm going to remove this. So I will remove this, and I will run it, shift enter, and that's giving you in the line pattern. But if I want to put it as a point, then I go ahead in this particular way, and that's going to run for me in this one. So this is a way I can plot a multiple point. Now at the same time, I can also decide to plot only on the y-axis. What I mean is that in the x-axis, for example, I can just decide to say, let me comment this. I have commented this, and I'm going to run this line. Then you can see here now that I get it in this particular pattern. So sorry, let me go back and edit this and then enter, and you can see now that I get this in the y-axis because I just said in this line give me the number in y. So let me remove here, remove 3, and then you can see this change as well. So I put up 3 here. You see here in the x-axis we have here as without plotting the x-axis, so I can also plot the y-axis. 5, this in that particular pattern. So when you change that, that's going to work that way for you. So this is how you can make a plotting. Now we discuss a bit what we call marker, and when we are talking about marker, let's say that we have this and you decided to plot using marker. Then the marker actually is a keyword that you use to emphasize each point with a specific marker. How do you want each point marker to look like? So if you introduce marker into it, like the way I put this up here, and when I am plotting, let's say that I'm plotting the y, let me put y direction here, and then let me run this now, and I introduce another parameter inside here, and I say comma, and I say marker here. When I say marker here, then I introduce the marker that I'm using here. So if I say something like this as my marker, and when I run it, and you can see here that this introduces this in for me here. So there are different other markers you can use, which we are going to be talking about. So you can also change to use this kind of marker here. You can also change to use this kind of marker here, and you run it, and you can see this put star for you. Then I'm going to copy this code a bit, and I'm going to copy, and I will return back here, and then I'm going to explain something using this thing. So what I'm going to do here is that I'm going to copy this, and I'm just going to paste this. Now you see that I have a marker here. Then here, if you right click here and you go to, and you say here, and you go to implementation. Now you see that when you say plot here, right click, go to implementation, and you wait for this. Now this gives you everything you need to read about how do you use each and every of this. You can see here. So if you say plot, you can use array, strings, boolean. So you can read this one to get to know more about the documentation of each of the things you do here. The same way, you can also go here by plot, right click here, you go down, you are going to see show contextual help. If you click on it, then if there is any documentation as related to what you do, see plot here. If you read here, you see here that you can say plot xy, which is to plot xy using a default line, symbol or color. If you say plot xy and you put bo, that means plot xy using a blue circle marker. If you say plot y, if you say plot y r plot, means plot that is ditto but red line here. So you can see the documentation here, which will help you understand more about what you're doing. So in this case, so what it means is that if I put the marker like it says there, like they say it says r and this, so if you run this, so what you're trying to refer to it based on the documentation is based on this. So anything you put up here and you put it like a marker here, that's going to get this one done for you. So what I wanted to do was put in a comma and put a red column, but I already have a keyword here, marker. So now when you put a marker, that helps you get that done. There are other different types of marker that you can put, which include, you can put, remember any of them that I'm going to define now. I'm just going to use comment to explain what I'm saying. You can also use something like using 0. What I mean is put 0 inside here. You can also use something like using star, the way I use star here. You can also use something like putting this dash, the point format, like if I put it up here and I run the same thing here, then you can see the point here on that. So that means you can also put a point here as it. You can also go ahead and put x, small x, and you can also put a big X inside here as your point. So if it is the big one that I'm putting here, X big here, and I run this, so you can see the X in here. You can also put other things like a plus sign. You can also put another marker like P in capital letter, which will give you a plus field. You can also put something like small x, which will give you a square. So if I put small x here, inside here in the marker and run it, so I can get a square format here. You can also put something like diamond. I think diamond, you can use a capital D in that particular pattern. Let me check. So if you put a D here in diamond, yeah, so you can get a diamond shape there. There are different other things, like you can put the diamond, you can put small d as well. You can also put something like P as well. You can put H. You can also put H, which is hexagon in small letter. You can also put V, that will give you a triangle. You can also use the opposite, like put this 6 here. You can as well put less than. You can as well put greater than. You can as well put 1. Let's say, let me be sure a bit. So you can put 1 here. So these are, you can see the tail, the way it shows here. So when you put 1, it shows you try up. So you can put 1, you can put 1, 2, you can put 3, you can put 4, you can put this thing. You can also put like the underscore. So depending on whichever way you want to put. So in the marker, you can use all this marker. You can use this. So you can use the following in the marker at any point in time to actually shows you what you want to show at that point in time. So that's the way you can use that. Also, in aspect of formatting strings, so you can also use the shortcut string notation parameter to specify the marker. Like for example, the parameter is called that is the formatting strings, so which is also written as FMT. So in that way, you can import a point that you want to work on, and you can decide, okay, that instead of me using it that way, so that's exactly what I wanted to do earlier. Then instead of me using the marker here, then I can also use the formatting method, which is bringing this here, and then I can say that I need this one to be in this code. So I am going to use this as example, and when you run this, then you are going to have it as red line in this order. So I'm going to say use this in red line. So if I say here run it like this, then I'm referring to blue. So I put this marker. So let me put S, and then I will run this as blue. So you can use square in blue color. Now black color, if you need black, is written as K. So if you run it with K instead of black, because we have blue as well, so if you need black, you put K. Then if I need it as white, so I'm going to do in this particular order here. So you can see this is why there is nothing you're seeing here. If I need it as yellow, I can also type Y, and then this changes the color you want at every point in time. So when you do that, you can put it as red. Now in the line where I am referring to, we have different types of thing in the line. So you can see here that I put S here. So this is also in reference line. Go ahead.
So when you put the marker, it comes as a line, and when you didn't put the marker, it comes as dots. I'm not getting the meaning of marker. I don't know.
Okay, the marker you are having is something that you have here. The where the line intersected here 5, the next point is here. So the marker is what control what happens here. You see here, we did not put marker. Do you see the way it goes like a line? But when you are trying to refer that this place is where you have a point here, then that's what you mean. Like if you are using the Excel, for example, and I have P1, I have P1, P2, and then I have 3, I have 4. Now, if I put up this and go to insert and then put you this up here. Now, if I put something here, this is the marker, the point you are referring to here. Insert, sorry. Let me go back a bit. So, recommended, and let's say line graph here. Now, this is these two lines. So the place you are talking marker is here. here. So if you want to show the location of this, you see here, this is 3 and this is 3 and this is 4. So the marker is this location, like this place. So that means if I change this into 5, what happens? You can see where the 5 is. This is the location, the marker, that is the point. Did you understand what I'm trying to say? Did you get that? Can you hear me?
Yes, I get it.
Okay. So you see this particular way we have this here. You can also define what you have. Either is a solid line, is a dot line. So you can also define that by the dot line or whichever way. Now we have talked about the marker, so which we are using here. So I'm going to copy this as well. Then I'm going to paste this here. So assuming I want to use this same thing I'm using, and you can see I use marker, so let me use the marker here as 0, and then I can also say the marker size here by using another, introducing another, and say ms, which is the marker size, is equals to, let's say, 10. And if I run this, you can see the size of the marker. If I change this thing to 100, you can also see the size of the marker growing big. If I reduce this thing to just 1, and you can see the size of the marker small. If I put 5, that is how you control the size of the marker here. So the size of the marker, you introduce ms, and that gives you the size of the marker. Now also, if you want to design your plot better, assuming you want to put the marker color, so you introduce another parameter inside it. So what do I need to introduce? So I'm going to introduce here, this is marker size. If I want to put the line on it, so I'm going to put the marker color here, and then I can say give me the marker color in red. So in that way, I'm going to put it like this. And if I run this, and you can see here that the marker color is going to be in red. So let me increase this to 50. So if you look here, you see now that it is having an outline that is red. So this is exactly what I mean by the marker color. So that's going to give you the color on the marker. So then also, if you want to do the marker face color, which might not be necessary for now, so you can also change this thing. Instead of M, instead of marker face, that is MEC, you can change here to MFC. So the face, you can see what happens here. So that means you're putting this inside here. So but this might not be necessary for you. So also you can put all of them together. Now that is the way you can use the color. You can also use the color hexa, that is the color that you put the color code, that is hexadecimal color at any point in time. Like what I mean by hexadecimal color is, you see the way we put this thing as red. If you know the code of any of the color you want to use, like let's say that we want to say 4C AF 50, for example, then this is going to give you this color of what you have, which is green. So you can see here it is green. So if you know the color in hexadecimal, you can as well put it. If not, you can just go ahead and put the color normally like this, and that gives you the color. So generally, that is how you manage marker as related to Matplotlib. So you manage marker, you get that done in that particular pattern. So here, when we are here, if you want to make your topics like the way you put it up here, you see here when you go to the new line here, you can change from code here to markdown. When it is markdown, you can put hash as well. Let's say now that the way I want to talk about line, so I can have a topic in this pattern. So you can see here that I have a line here. I can close everything on that line. I can expand everything on that line. So you just go to the new line here, go up here, change it from code to markdown, and then you can put it up there. So that gives you a subtopic. So I'll be talking about the line style. When it comes to line style, it's just the same thing. I just want to keep on modifying this particular code. So I'm going to remove the marker here to talk about the line style. So you use the keyword line style like this, and then you can say in the line style I want it to be a dotted line. So you put up a dotted line like this and you run it, and that's going to give you a dotted line as related to that. So you can also put a dash, so you get this kind of way if this is the way you want your own line to show. So you can use dotted, you can use line. The whole thing is that you can use that the same way. In case you don't want to use line style like the way I'm using line style here, you can also use your own as line style, like go with ls, or if you put ls here, is also going to understand it. And then when it comes to dotted line, instead of you putting the dotted line, you can put this here and you run it, and that's going to understand that one as well. So it's just depending on the way you want to put it. You can put solid and rest of them. And like I said, if you are interested in color, like if for us to talk about color, I have like a bit talked about color a bit. So if you are interested in putting color, the keyword you need to pass there is color. And when you put color, you can put the color there and then you run it, and that's going to give you the color red, or you can represent it with R and that's also going to give you the red, or you represent it with B and that's going to give you the blue, or you represent it with G and that's going to give you the green color, or you write it full in green and that's going to give you the green color, or you write it full in black and that's going to give you the black color, or you write it full in yellow and that's going to give you the yellow color. Then, or you write it small letter in Y and that's going to give you the yellow color. So when it comes to color, you can just, once you pass the color to it, and you can always pass it there. Then at the same time, you can also, instead of you writing color, you can also represent it with H. And let's say I want to use pink, and I can write hot pink, for example, and I will run this, and that's going to give me the color in this. So C can as well be represented at color on what you want. So this is a way you can manage your color at any given period of time. Now you can also manage your width. Let's take for example that I'm interested in the line width. I want to increase that, so I need to put up line width. Now in the line width here, you are passing an integer into it. So I want the line width to be like 10. You can see how big it is. I want the line width to be 100. You can see how big it is here. I want the line width to be 1. You can see how small it will look like. So line width control how the size of the line width, or how big or small the line is going to be. So in that particular order. Now let us talk about new thing. So I'm going to mark down, and I'm going to say here, I'm going to say plotting multiple line. When it comes to plotting multiple lines, so I'm going to paste this, and I'm also going to copy this, and I'm going to paste this one as well, and I'm going to say y direction 1. This is y direction and this is y direction. Let's put this one 2, and let's put this one y direction 1, and then let's modify this to be, let's say 15, and make this one another number, and make this one another number, and make this one 10, and make this one here 6, and let's make this one 9. Now I have two variables now, y1 and y2. So in that particular pattern, I can as well also copy this one. So let me make a copy and paste here. So I can put here y direction 1 and y direction 2. Then this, remember that if you don't put plot show, this is not going to show. So in that way, if you run this, you're going to have two lines across each other in this y direction axis. So you have this here and this one here. So remember that I put dash here because I put the line here. So at the same time, I can decide to pass the C is equals to let's say green, So let me put it in keyword here, and I run this. Sorry, yeah. So then you can see here that I've changed this one to green, so I'm saying this one green. And remember, you can incorporate what I said here, like say line width. Then I want this line width to be 10. Then I can run this here, so you can see the way I pass the first line here is going to be in green. So you can at the same time change it to be red. Then you can at the same time change it to be any color of your choice, yellow. And you can see the size with, you can also increase it anyhow. So you can see the way you can plot double distance. So let me leave it on 1, and you can see the size coming to this. So this is a way you can plot using just normal way of showing the line, whichever way you want to show it. At the same time, if you have multiple line you want to plot like the same way, so let me just copy this and let me also put this here. Then you can see this one here, so let me copy and make a modification here, then and paste it here. Then I'm going to make this one, enter. So I'm going to make this one, that's going to be X, and this one is going to be X as well. Then under here I can pass everything into a single argument here. Let me change some of the X values here a bit, here another thing here, then here 55, here 13, in the Y here 54, here 23, here 10, here 61, here 90. Now I can also pass the same thing I wanted to pass here into the whole this thing here by saying comma x1, then I will say x underscore direction 2, then I will say y underscore direction 1, and I will say y underscore direction 2, then also in this particular order. Then you can see this one here. So in plotting this, then we have this in this, so I can pass this, plot it as x comma this. So let me remove this for the meantime. So you can see this shows you this one and this one. So in that order, the first one is x going against y, that is x in y, so that is the first one, and then x2 in y2, and then that's how you see both of them in that order. Remember that I have up to 90 here, and that's why you can see this trying to reach 90 and this one also trying to reach 50 something. So you can just plot some little numbers in that particular pattern. Then remember we are still in line. Then at the same time, how do you label when it comes to label and title? That's where I am going to stop when it comes to labeling and title. So when it comes to labeling and title, we can use any, you can use it whichever way you want to get it done. So then let me copy what is plain to avoid, because this one looks is not looking neat. But let us say here that we want to say, let me copy this. So I'm just going to copy this one. So and then I'm talking about how you can label. So let's go with labels. So in this way I'm going to say labels, then I'll change this into markdown, and then I'll press shift enter on this. Then so in terms of labeling, I have this one here. Let me look for one Y and copy. Let me copy this one as Y. X, sorry. So I paste X here, and I have X1 and Y1 here. So if I run this, then you can see this is what I have here. Now if I want to go ahead and start labeling, Now I can go in here, you can see the way I plotted this. So if I want to label, so I can now go and say PLT, that is Matplotlib dot, I can say Y on, that is Y label, like this. Then when I say Y label, I can say I can put anything I want here. I can say X axis, for example, and if I run this, that's going to put the label here for me under the X axis. Then the same thing, that if I want to label for Y, I'm going to go here and paste this in this way. I'm going to put Y here, and then I'm going to also change this to Y axis, and then I'm going to label the Y axis here. Now with this way, I am able to show the X and Y axis. Now if I want to put up the title, I am also going to say PLT dot. In this time, I'm going to introduce title here, and I'm going to put whatever I'm doing, and I will say this is my title. Then, and I'm going to run this, and that's going to give me the title here. So whatever you're plotting here, that becomes the title. So this is how you can put the title of what you want to plot, and that's perfectly the way you can get that done. Then in another way, you can change how do you want your title to look like. For example, if you want to customize your title to look differently from what every other person is looking, so you can also customize that. Somehow you can go here, and you see this one just come by default, but if you have a title, you have to go on with. So that means you might need to define how your title looks. So for example, if I want to define a title that of my choice, then I can come here and say, let's say, or define the font. So let's say that we want to do font, let's say font underscore 1. Then if I want to define the font I want, so I'm going to use dictionary. Now how do I use dictionary? First I need to define the family of the font. So you need to look for the family of the font. Then in that one, you have to bring dictionary. Then the family of font, let's say we have Times New Romans, we have different types of color, but let us use let's use serif. So we are going to say any color, any font you want, you can as well use that. So for me, I want to use it like this, and then I also want to say what color do I want it to be for me. Then I want the color to be red, so let me say that I want the red color. Then also, what is the size I want? I can also say that I need size. For example, I can say I need size, let's say size 10. So also remember, you have to put it in dictionary. So now in this way, I need to put this here. So remember, this have to be in dictionary. So this as well. Then size as well also need to be in dictionary. Then this way I am able to define the kind of font that I want as well. Now this is the way you define your font. You can also define another font if you want to define until, if you want to label them differently, like X and Y. So I can go ahead and copy this and say font 2, and then I define the family, the font that I want, the color I want. So let me say this color that I'm going to say, let's say green, or let's say blue. Now when you define this, you can also define that this one you want it to be 5, for example. Now in this way, what I'm trying to say is that when you want to put up the plot here, when you want to plot, so let me arrange this in this order so that the plot will be at the down here, so that this one will be closer to what I'm saying. So here, so just understand it like this. So this one here, I want to put up the color. So when you put up this, so what you can say is that when you want to put up the Y, the title, or let's start with the title first. So let me put the title here in the beginning, so that so we have the title here. So I have actually used dictionary to define my font, and I want to put the title. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to pass the title with this particular font. So in this way, I need to say, let's say font dictionary, as the font dict, then it's going to be, let's say font 1, because I've defined font underscore 1. Now if you run this, you can see here that this is my title, which is going to be in red. So let's make this title to be up to 50 and run it, so you can see the how big this is. So I've passed this font title into 50 and I've said red. So I don't like red, I need black. So I can run it and you can see black. I don't need black, I need blue. Then I can run this and I can run this now, and you can see the color being blue. Now the font is 50, so I am using the dictionary to control that. Now in the y-axis, I want it to be 0.5, like the way you see y here. So what I can do is that I can pass this font into it. So what do I need to do to pass the font into it? You just need to call this one here and then put the comma on it and then paste it here. Then also do the same thing here, comma, and paste it here. So I'm going to use font 2 instead of font 1 for labeling y. So I'm going to put font 2 here. When you label this, so you can see the size here 5, and you see how small it is. So let us increase the size here, this one to 10, and then let's make this one 20 because it's a title. So this is the way you can customize your title. Okay, both of them are blue, so we can make this one black. So let's run it, and you can see here black and here. So you can customize the font and show how you want the font to be. So you can make it bigger or you can make it smaller depending on whichever you want it. At the same time, you can also pass the location where you want the location to be. In passing the location, so if you run this one here and then you want to pass the location, you can also pass the location using this. And then there are other these things. So let's say you want to pass the location, so you can use left or right, okay, so you can use left or right. So if I want it to be on the left, it goes to the left. If I want it to be on the right, it goes to the right. What's that? Okay, sorry, right, it goes to the right. And then you can see it being at the right here. Then you can also change the way you want it to be by putting on the center. By default it will be on the center, but if you assume you want to put the title on the right or left, you use location in order to customize where you want it to be, like the way I put it up there. So we are going to stop here, and then I want you to ask me some questions. So we are going to go into